Big Ten football, and we finally give our predictions for that.
Okay, I'll go first.
Okay.
So the Big Ten, I hit on the nail last year. I said that Michigan was going to win it, and I said Michigan was going to win the national title game. I'm going to follow it up this year. Not only did the Big Ten win national title last year, they're going to win it again. Ohio State is going to win the national title. Ohio State is going to win the national title. I'm telling y'all right now. Now I will start. I think a team in this conference that could improve is I think a team like Nebraska. Dylan Raiola, freshman quarterback, Matt Rule. I think they went 5-7 last year. They get Colorado week 2, so that's interesting. They get Deion Sanders and company. I think they could win 8 to 9 games this year. I really do. I think Matt Rule is going to make a little bit of a run in Nebraska this year. They're going to be much improved. And I think Nebraska, they're not going to be near the playoff team, but they're going to be much better than last year. I think they win 8, 9 games. I really do. And I think we're going to have to watch out for Nebraska in the next couple of years. I really do. I think a team like Iowa is going to be somewhere in the middle. They'll be very competitive. I think Michigan will win 9 games. I see 3 losses. They're going to lose to Texas. They're going to lose to Oregon. They're going to lose to Ohio State. Those 3 for sure. They might lose an extra in there. They don't play Penn State, but they have a very favorable schedule outside of those 3 games. So I see Michigan winning 9 games. I don't think Michigan takes a step back like people think, where they just go trash. I think they're going to win 9 games. Donovan Edwards, Loveland, Alex Orji, solid team. They'll win 9 games. Then it comes down to Oregon and Ohio State. They play in Oregon, first matchup. I think Oregon's going to beat them. Then I think they're going to play in the Big Ten title game. Ohio State's going to beat Oregon to win the conference. And then they're both going to make the playoff along with Penn State. I think Penn State's also going to make the playoff. You know what's the craziest thing? The playoffs going to 12, and I read that since the college football playoff went to 4 teams, the team that got affected the most from 5 to 12 range, 5 to 12 seeding, Penn State would have made the most playoffs out of teams that missed it out of those 5 to 12 seedings. And I think Penn State finally gets in. So I think Penn State's going to lose probably just 2 games. Then they're going to get a playoff game as well. So I see Ohio State over Oregon in the Big Ten title game. I see Penn State 3rd. Penn State makes the playoff. Michigan finishes 4th. I don't know if that will be enough for the playoff, but they'll have 9 wins. And the rest of the conference is pretty much irrelevant outside of Nebraska, because I think Nebraska makes a big jump this year. So that's how I see the Big Ten. I'm excited for the Big Ten. UCLA, Oregon, Washington, USC all enter it. So it'll be fun. So that's what I see. I think the worst team I see probably is somebody like Indiana or Purdue, one of those Indiana teams. So that's how I see the Big Ten. It should be interesting. At the end of the day, though, I think it's between Ohio State, Oregon, and Penn State.
Okay. See what you're thinking. You want me to go or you got it?
I'll go, man. I'm just gonna get my top 3. Because I'm looking at all these and I can't really gauge it too much because so many people have entered it. So my top 3. First off, I have Ohio State winning the division.
Okay.
Conference.
Yeah, the conference. Yeah, I got them winning the conference. Coming in second, I have Oregon. I have Oregon coming in second. And I don't think Michigan drops completely off the map like people are thinking either. I got them coming in third in this conference. And I actually think USC does better than people anticipate and come in probably 4th. I know I said I was going to give 3, but I think USC probably will come in 4th.
You think over Penn State?
I don't think Penn State has a good year this year. I don't. I like the little stats you put out there, but I definitely don't see them in the playoffs. I don't see them in the playoffs. I think there's going to be too many SEC teams, and you got the SEC, you got ACC, and they're gonna have to have. I can't see three teams being in from the Big Ten in the playoffs when you have all these other conferences to put somebody in. So I'll take USC over Penn State for that fourth team right there.
Okay. I'm gonna start with a sleeper team. I'm not saying they're gonna be great, but you can't ever count them out. I'm gonna go with Wisconsin. Wisconsin's always tough because they have a style of play that you know, if you go over there and it's cold, bruh, they can beat anybody because they're gonna run the football, control the clock as long as they don't turn the ball over. Tyler Van Dyke transferred from Miami over there. If he doesn't turn over the ball, Wisconsin, just watch out for him. I do think they're going to upset some people. I do agree with Yvonne as far as Nebraska. I think they'll upset some people as well. But I don't think they're going to be, one of those teams. For me, the guys that it comes down to is Michigan, Penn State, Oregon, and Ohio State. And I know at first glance, everybody and their mama has Ohio State winning this conference. And I said last week on the show, I'm going to tell you why Ohio State will not win the Big Ten. Because Oregon will win the Big Ten. Bro, what they're doing up there in Eugene, Oregon, bro, is nothing short of phenomenal. Now, of course, I understand that, they got long NIL money. No, they're getting transfers in. They're getting elite recruits to come there. Shoot, the Corian Moore, number one wide receiver in the country, switched from LSU. And LSU is his dream school. He said as a kid, his favorite player was Odell Beckham. But he's going to Oregon because they're trying to start something. They're trying to change everything in Oregon when it comes to winning. We know Oregon's always been good, but they've never won. And the guy from Nike, he said, before I passed away, I believe he's like 80-something years old. He said, I want Oregon to deliver a national championship. And boy, has Oregon, turned their program. I don't want to say around because they've always been good, but Dan Lanning, I think that was a good hire for them as coach. Then you didn't just get Dylan Gabriel to come over. For everybody out there, Dante Moore left UCLA, 5-star quarterback, and went to Oregon as well. So I'm looking at these guys.
Big chicks, boy.
Evan Stewart came over. I just look at this team, bro, and I say, if not now, when? If not now, when? Now, I understand Ohio State is loaded. Ohio State had a really good recruiting class as far as from the transfer portal. They got Caleb Downs. I understand that. Will Howard. But I just think, like you said, Yvonne, they got to go to Eugene. And I just think they're going to get that game. And I'm not going to lie to y'all. Michigan may upset Ohio State. Ohio State might not even be in the Big Ten championship game. So don't just think that Michigan's just going to fall off. Penn State's just going to fall off. Teams have been known to upset Ohio State. So I'm going to say Oregon wins the Big Ten in their first year there. I do think Oregon and Ohio State end up getting to the playoffs. And now I want to pick one more. And as much as I'm like Yvonne, I am sold on Penn State. Something's telling me, man, Michigan, we people are sleeping on Michigan. I think Michigan gets in to the playoffs. Somehow, some way, I think Penn State's right on the cusp of making it, but don't get in. So I'm going to say the three teams that get in is Oregon, winning the Big Ten, Ohio State, and Michigan. Regardless if they win the Big Ten or not, they're going to get in just because they're Ohio State and Michigan. I think they have a really good year as well.
The Big Ten is a different conference this year. I might
USC, go to fight on.
no. I still like my USC as like a sleeper though. I don't think they have a chance to win the Big Ten. But I can't underestimate Lincoln Riley with
Right, you're right.
developing the quarterbacks. I think Miller Moss, he did have a good showing in the last game in the bowl game last season. But if things don't go well, they do have a UNLV transfer quarterback that I picked up from the portal. I think he may take over if things don't work out with Miller Moss. They got some solid defensive pieces though, but I think the improvement is the defense though, because they gave up a lot of points last season, man. They gave up 34 points last season, which was a lot of points. They bring in a new defensive coordinator, so I think they can improve, but I just don't think it will be enough. I'm not huge on Penn State, man. I'm not a big fan of Drew Aller at all, man. Like I seen him, I just feel like the guy don't make the plays, man. He's a very cautious guy. He's more of like a check down guy to me. Like when you think of Penn State, man, when you think of their quarterbacks, you think of like the running game, the defense. Like this guy ain't no Trace McSorley or anything like that, man.
That man
So
said, when you think of that quarterback, you think of the running game and the defense.
What
yeah,
about Penn
man.
State?
Well, yeah, when I think of Penn State, I think of the running game and the defense, man. Like we never think about the quarterback, man.
But
The
Keith,
last
No,
time
I know what you meant, but I'm just talking about what you said. It was
I think with
last
the
time I
Penn
thought of a
State,
quarterback.
I think what the Penn State hype is, they don't play Michigan or Oregon at all on their schedule.
Yeah, they just play Ohio State.
So that's what their schedule is, very favorable, very favorable.
And they get Ohio State in College
Valley.
Happy
This
Valley,
is
yeah.
this is the problem with Penn State every single year, though. When it comes to Penn State, they'll beat every single team, run through the schedule. When they go through when they go through the Michigans and the Ohio State, they don't win those games, man. They don't win those big games. Like they could have like a uh on to go on a 7-game winning streak and they run through a buzzsaw like Ohio State and Michigan. We know what's gonna happen. Because if we do our picks during this season, if the game was today and we said Ohio State's playing Penn State, who you got? I
No, you're
guarantee
right.
I'm
But
pretty
here's
sure
my thing.
everybody's
If
gonna
they
pick
lose,
Ohio State.
if they lose to Ohio State and they win the rest of their games, that means they have one loss. Like
Yeah.
that's a playoff team.
It's a 12
But guess
and 12.
what? They don't do that though, man, because they don't have what the quarterback the quarterback to get that job done, man. Like I think when it comes to recruiting, man, I think Penn State needs to do a better job when it comes to bringing those high profile quarterbacks in, like the good quarterbacks.
I just don't see Penn State losing more than 3 games. That's where I'm at. Like I think they're right there.
Right.
They're right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll be in the mix, but I just don't think they'll win it though. They'll eventually lose those games. And obviously Michigan is still it. Michigan will still in the mix. Their defense is very good. The defense is really good. Donovan Edwards, I think he's probably going to be the best running back. He's going to be the best running back in college football.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
Ollie Gordon, Junk is that? Oh wow.
yeah, maybe
That's a
Ollie
big
go
statement.
maybe Ollie Gordon, but Donovan Edwards, you know that Michigan running game. You know, another team that relies on the running game and defense, and that's Michigan. And
Yeah.
they got that running back of what it takes to do that. As far as Oregon goes, I know they're only returning 4 starters on the defensive side. But when you think of Oregon nowadays, man, you always think about that offense. Dylan Gabriel, you have mentioned Stewart. I actually like the other receiver, Tez Johnson, man. They also got a running game also with Winningham also. And I think they'll do. I think it's gonna come down to Oregon and Ohio State at the end of the day. But what I like Ohio State, they brought in Chip Kelly, man. Chip Kelly going against his former team, possibly. As an offensive coordinator, and you know that Ohio State team is loaded. They probably got one of the best receivers in the nation. They probably got the best running back. They got a 2-headed monster with Henderson and Judkins, and obviously they got a good solid quarterback from the transfer portal, and they got defensive players all across the board from the front seven to the secondary. There's no way I'm not picking against Ohio State, and Ohio State will finally snap their 3-game losing streak against Michigan this season. Also, I got Ohio State.
there.
Wow, so everybody got Ohio State. I got Oregon. We'll replay it. We'll revisit
Wow.
this.
Oh,
We'll revisit
interesting.
this. But shout out to Michigan. Don't sleep up, man.
Hmm.
Michigan.